Alrighty, welcome back. Been a little while. Got a lot of stuff that's been going on here in the shop. We got the red truck back here today. Gonna try to get on swapping this hood that David painted for you guys a while back. All the new parts here. We got the hood painted on a pallet, stainless grill surround, Hodge-built grill, new fender lights. We got new airline boxes for that truck, new top stacks. We got new hood ornaments, new headlight buckets, everything. We're just going to do the front over. There's on the side over there's a 20-inch Roadworks bumper. Apparently you cannot get pretty much anything. Valley Chrome, you can't get anything right now. They're 9 months out, they said, for an 18-inch hand-formed end. So we went with the Roadworks this time. We'll see how it works out for us. Blind mount and whatnot. We also got another problem with this truck. Truck yesterday started putting diesel fuel into the oil. Driver called me, was stuck in traffic, said that oil pressure was about 5 pounds lower than what he normally runs. Pulled over, took a look. Driver's pretty good with that kind of stuff. Had about an extra gallon of fluid in the oil pan. So we proceeded to pull the dipstick, smelled it, diesel fuel. Okay, we got a bad injector. So was able to nurse the thing back without doing any damage. We're going to put a little bit bigger set of injectors in it, instead of 57s. We'll turn them up a little bit. The truck's a factory 550, but we'll update the injectors, and we're going to do the injector cups while we're in there. So we'll do our best to take you along today. Here she is. It's held up for about 2 months while we waited for the hood, painted the hood, waited for parts. The grill was on back order forever. So our quick little repair of the day that I got hit in the truck is held up. It's made 1, possibly 2 trips to Florida. It's probably been 20,000 miles and it's held up. So served us well. Time to get all this stuff stripped off. We had an extra bumper hanging around with a swing plate, and the driver takes really good care of this truck, keeps it washed and polished. And I felt bad that he's been riding around like this, but we wanted to do it once, we wanted to do it right. So here we go. I'm thinking I'm probably going to pull the bumper in the hood, and then I don't have to fight with it while I'm doing the injectors. And then I just got to make sure I get enough time to get the rest of it done. So I'll set you up. We'll take you along as we yank this stuff off, and here we go. So here we are, got the hood off, got the coolant out, got the fuel line off the back of the head, got the air intake pipe off. And I was just noticing, this was the bottom of the, right here was the bottom of the coolant hose from the bottom of the radiator to the water pump outlet. And there was a couple little drips on the ground this morning when I walked in. So I decided to pressure test the system, and right at the end of my thumb there's a little tiny slice in the hose. Anyways, not even just a little half a drip, but once you put it under 10 pounds of pressure, this truck's got a 7-pound cap, so I went a little bit higher, and just a little drip out of it. So another problem found before it became a large problem on the road. So constantly looking for stuff, just trying to make our lives easier in the future. Alright, so here we go. Standing up next to the engine, got a little cheat sheet here. Got it pinned on one, top dead center. The intake on 1, 2, 4, and the exhaust on 1. I can't see it because the fingers are in the way. You can move the valve bridge 1, 3, which is this one if I could count properly, and sorry about that, 5. You can roll over. Now I am noticing that the valve bridge on 1 is very tight. Last year, maybe the year before, might have been last February, I have to check the paperwork. Did the whole front structure, did a cam, all of the injector rockers, a couple of the other rockers, because as you can tell this has the old style on some of them, where it's a flathead in the newer style where it's an Allen for the adjusters. The flatheads suck. They're a pain. They're tough to hold and tighten the nut down, the jam nut down, but that's regardless. So we're going to look into that. We're going to pull it all apart, pull all the rockers off, all the jakes off first. Obviously, we've already got the jake wiring disconnected, and then we will start pulling the injectors out and see if we can find anything. Visually, I don't see any with a broken spring as of right now, so we'll have to dig a little deeper and look and see what we can find as we go. So I like the engine oil in it, but I did pull the return line off the back of the head, so hopefully most of the fuel ran out the back into the drain pan and not down into the cylinders, although we were already having a problem with it dumping fuel into the cylinders, so it might have all dripped down overnight. We didn't start the truck this morning. We checked the level. It's about a gallon over full, and the driver had some problems yesterday in Jersey. He had to drain some oil out, put some fresh oil in, and it was right on the full mark. So it added about a gallon in 250, 270 miles. So definitely want to get this taken care of. We do not want to be diluting our oil and take a chance of ruining the rods and mains and cam bearings and so on and so forth. Got the injectors out. I think that's where we left it. Cam looks good. Nothing notable with the injectors. All the tips look good. All the springs looked good. Everything else seemed to be pretty good shape. So 1, 2, 3, and 6 had broken lower O-rings, but I had just put them in about a year or so ago, so not quite sure what the deal is with that. Usually they just get brittle and they break when you pull them out, but we're going to put a 6-pack in here, all new O-rings, and I'm about to get ready to start pulling the cups. Here's what the tool looks like, alright? It's just basically a 1-inch threaded bung with a sleeve and then a nut on a piece of threaded rod. You can easily make your own. This one came from Cat. The cups are threaded. Just run the plug down inside the cup until you get it pretty snug. Doesn't have to be bottom. Run this jam nut down. Shouldn't say that's a jam nut. Tightening nut. What we have is an extra deep 15/16 socket. That's a lifesaver. Run it down and give it a couple cranks. And you'll feel it just pull the cup right up out of there. It comes pretty loose. What I do is you can feel it, the resistance. I just grab it, wiggle it, yank it on and up. There you go. There's the cup. Cup should just spin right off if you haven't got it on there too tight. You can see the bottom O-ring's pretty rough shape, but when you pull them apart, they usually come apart like that. You can see inside there that the cup is threaded. These are stainless steel, so they usually look like they're in pretty good shape. So we got all the cups pulled out. A couple little things. Number 4 felt like it was pretty loose in there. Just came out really easy, didn't take much. There was also a good bit of carbon on the bottom of it where there really shouldn't be. The rest of them are all pretty clean. You know, I mean, they got a little oil and fuel, but there's really no carbon on them. Number 5. If you can see it down in there, there's quite a bit of carbon down in there too. Like the bottom O-ring on the injector just wasn't sealed up tight, which they usually just disintegrate and build up with carbon, but I'm not quite sure what went on there. And then number 6, the top second O-ring down, was super duper loose on here. And you can see that's just all bagged out, got some cracks and some scrapes in it. None of which really, I believe, led to our problem, but all a little bit concerning. So next we're gonna take the wire wheels on the drill and we'll go down and we'll clean the cups out. So this is typically how I lay all the parts out, just to try and keep an eye on them. Got everything over here. Got the new injector cups, all the new O-rings, just got them in from UPS. We're gonna throw all the O-rings on the cups and then I'll show you how we slam them in. Use the same tool, it's just got a different adapter on the end that you whack with a hammer. Always put new injector hold down bolts in, and we'll start putting it back together with the 6 new injectors. I'm gonna put 57s in it. We'll turn the fuel up just a little bit, but not too bad because it's gotta run everything. Alright, so you can see we've got all 6 injector cups. We've got all the new O-rings on them, purple on top, green in the middle, then you got another small purple one on the bottom. You just take a little tiny bit of engine oil, clean engine oil. You want to lubricate the O-rings just a bit. They don't have to be soaked, just help slide them in. And then you take some of this retaining compound, Caterpillar calls it a tooling something, some part number or other, but you just put a little tiny bit on that bottom bit where it contacts the cylinder head. Just a wee bit. Sound like I'm Irish now, which I am. Takes this off. Okay, you take the cup, grab my tool. Sounding terrible. Thread a new cup onto the tool. Drop it down in the injector hole. We've got everything cleaned up. Make sure of that 2 or 3 times. This is the other part of the tool, as you can tell. It's got a blunt surface on the top and it just slides right over that stainless threaded rod. We've got our hammer here. Pop that down there. Back away. Hear the difference? You can tell it that's all the way seated down in there. And you just pull that off, unthread this one. Bingo. The cup is now set down in there in the cylinder head. So now we're going to quickly vacuum out the threaded holes right here for the injectors, just to make sure there's no oil stuck down in them, so we'll get an accurate torque reading. We'll unbox the new injectors and I'll show you they come with the O-rings and everything already on them. Now we'll get ready to slam those bad girls in there. So here we go. Got the second injector, got the O-rings all lubed up, new bolt. Lube the threads, set her down in there. Try not to bang it around too much, make sure it's centered in the cutout here. Where the electrical body of the injector goes. I tighten them down by hand. Grab my ratchet. Maybe if you guys weren't watching, I might use an impact just to bottom it out. Crank it down. There you go. Check this bad Larry out. Just picked her up last week. Snap on. 15 degrees of flex in the head. You can set your torque, and then it also, if you have like torque yield bolts, you can set the degrees and it'll follow the degrees after it reaches the initial torque. It's pretty rad. Torque for these is 37 plus or minus 7. So we're gonna go 40 just to be safe. That's what I've always done. I've never had an issue. Injectors all torqued down, what you saw. Then I wiped all the valve stems down and put all the injector electrical connectors on, tightened them down, torqued them to spec, obviously, which is like 1/8 of a foot pound. But I like to take and put a little bit of oil here on the valve stems before I put the valve bridges on. rocker shafts down. We just got them sucked down by hand. Torque them to 100 foot-pounds. Drake wires back up. See, we are 6 top dead center. Took us a little bit to get there, but hey, we made it. Number 3, intake, 15 thousandths. All right, 6 double-ended bucks. No, excuse me, 3 intake. Wow, Friday afternoon, 5:30. Here we are, fired up. All right, Jake brake, 35,000. Oil filter on, drain plug in, 40 quarts of oil, coolant's topped off and bled, fresh fuel filters, prime the primer pump, put the valve covers back on, pull the plug, not the plug, but the timing bolt, because you don't want to fucking forget that. Ask me how I know. good. She's smoothing out. Let her idle for a couple minutes. Oil pressure was right up there. Like I said, we were having a problem with this truck. It was dumping fuel into the oil. She's sitting here idling. What's she got? What do we got? What do we got? Come on now. 70 pounds of oil pressure, maybe 65. I'd say she's doing pretty good. She ran minty. Oil looks great. Whoop. Cold start on the reefer. Not really a cold start at all. It's fucking hot out. All right. Check her out. So clean you can't even see her. Right on the full mark. Sounds good, runs good. 68 pounds of oil pressure at idle. I'm happy with that. A little nervous after we ran about 10 gallons of diesel through her, but thank goodness the driver was able to drain some of it out and get the truck home, put some fresh oil in it. Clearly there was still a little brake cleaner diesel fuel down in the cylinders, because you see it there. It spun not even a half a revolution and fired off. So we had the laptop plugged into it, doing super secret stuff. Fire her back up, see how she does. Idle set at 710. Looks good, sounds good. Got the injectors set at 5232, just to give it a little more juice. And 68 pounds of oil. Pressure at idle. See that she runs pretty clean. Well, Saturday's pretty much come and gone. It's about 1:30. It's Father's Day weekend. We got the red truck stuff back inside. Everything went pretty good with this engine. Sounds good, runs good. I might reflash the ECM with a newer file. Speaking of that, I got my data link still plugged in. Plug that so it doesn't kill the battery. Everything else kind of turned into a cluster. We'll leave this one inside there, and we'll start early on it Monday morning, because it's got to leave Monday afternoon.